There are some betrayals so quiet, you don't hear them coming. They don't announce themselves with raised voices or slammed doors. They arrive in gentle hands and poisoned cups. This is the story of a woman who lost everything twice. Once to darkness, and once to the man who promised to be her light. But before we speak of what was taken, we must speak of what was given. Because kindness, you see, has a memory longer than grief. And on the day when hell opened its mouth to swallow her whole, it was kindness, planted years before, in silence, without witnesses, that reached down into the pit and pulled her back. This is the story of Chioma Okafor, the woman who went blind and finally learned to see. Lagos, Nigeria, the present day. Chioma Okafor sits in the center of a room that once vibrated with power. She is 38 years old. She is completely blind, and she is alone. The mansion around her is vast. Marble floors, imported furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows that overlook the city she once commanded. But the curtains have been drawn for months. No sunlight enters, no visitors call. The phones that once rang constantly now sit silent on mahogany tables, collecting dust. Chioma runs her fingers along the armrest of her chair, slowly, carefully, like a woman reading Braille on her own life. They say when you lose your sight, your other senses sharpen, that you hear more, feel more, sense things others can't. That's a lie. You don't gain anything. You just become more aware of what's being taken from you. She listens. Footsteps approach, measured, deliberate. She knows the rhythm of those steps. Her husband. Tobechukwu enters. Everyone calls him Tobe. 35 years old, handsome, controlled. He speaks in the soft, patient tone reserved for children and the infirm. Chioma, my love, you've been sitting in the dark again. He doesn't wait for her answer. He moves to the window, adjusts the curtains slightly, just enough to seem caring, not enough to actually let in light. I didn't realize. I thought you'd opened them this morning. I did. You must have forgotten. She hadn't forgotten, but when you can't see, doubt becomes your constant companion. He sits beside her, takes her hand. His touch is warm, his voice warmer. You haven't eaten. Ngozi left your lunch in the usual place. Ngozi, his younger sister, the woman who moved in 6 months ago to help. I wasn't hungry. You have to eat, my love. You're getting weaker. He strokes her hand. She leans into him, this man who stayed when others would have run. I don't know what I'd do without you. You'll never have to find out. He kisses her forehead, gentle, devoted, perfect. And when he stands and walks toward the door, believing she cannot see him, his face changes. The warmth drains. His jaw tightens. He pulls out his phone. A message glows on the screen. Ngozi, is she signing today? He types back, soon, very soon. He pockets the phone, straightens his shirt, and when he turns back toward her, the mask returns. I'll be in my office if you need me. Thank you. The door closes softly. Chioma sits in the silence. She does not know that love blinded her long before darkness ever did. Later that evening, Tobe returns with a lawyer, a man Chioma has never met, but whose voice sounds rehearsed, transactional. Mrs. Okafor, this is just a formality. Power of attorney. It ensures your husband can manage your assets while you recover. Recover? Her voice is small. The doctors said there's still hope, but until then, someone needs to handle the business, the accounts, the properties. I thought we were managing together. We are. This just makes it legal, official. Silence. If you'd like me to read through the document. She trusts me, don't you, my love? Chioma hesitates. Her hand trembles as she reaches forward. A pen is placed between her fingers. Where do I sign?
It's all right, just sign here.
Wait, I don't understand.
Right here. He guides her hand. The pen scratches paper. And somewhere, in a place she cannot see, a trap closes. But to understand how she arrived in this darkness, we must go back. Back to a day when Chioma Okafor still had her sight and used it to see someone no one else did.
Life stories with the innocent. Stories just for you. Ancient wisdom for modern lives.
The air is thick with red dust and the smell of rain coming. Chioma steps out of a black SUV, dressed simply. No logos, no luxury. She is here for her late mother's memorial service in the village. 31 years old. Sharp, successful, untouchable. But when she sees the small rural clinic at the edge of the village, something pulls her toward it. Inside, the waiting area is packed. Old women, pregnant mothers, children with swollen bellies. And at the center of it all, a young man, 25, thin, exhausted, moving between patients with quiet focus. His name is Emeka Nwosu. He is not a doctor, not yet. Chioma watches him work. He kneels beside an old woman, speaking to her in Igbo, slow, respectful. He cleans a child's infected wound with hands that shake from hunger. He writes prescriptions he knows the patients can't afford, and then pays for the medication himself. When the last patient leaves, he sits on the clinic steps, head in his hands. His phone rings. Mama, I tried everything. I went to the bursar. I begged them. But they won't let me take my final exams unless I pay. Silence on the other end. Then a woman's voice, tired, defeated. How much? 850,000 naira. Emeka, we don't have that kind of money. Your father's hospital bills. I know, Mama. I know. His voice cracks. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He hangs up, wipes his eyes quickly, stands, and goes back inside to treat the next patient. For free. Chioma watches all of this. She does not interrupt. She simply sees. Chioma approaches him quietly as he's locking the clinic. Excuse me? Emeka turns, startled. Yes, ma? I couldn't help but overhear. You're in medical school. He hesitates. I was. What happened? My father got sick. I had to stop. I thought I could finish this year, but... He trails off. How much do you need? I wasn't asking. I'm not offering because you asked. I'm offering because I watched you treat 15 people today and charge them nothing. Emeka stares at her. 850,000 naira. That's what you need. Ma, I can't. You're not taking anything. I'm giving it. There's a difference. She pulls out her phone, opens her banking app. What's your account number? Why would you do this? Because someone did it for me once, and they told me the same thing I'm about to tell you. She looks him in the eye. Finish school. Become the doctor you're meant to be. And when you can, help someone else. Tears stream down Emeka's face. He falls to his knees. I don't even know your name. You don't need to. She transfers the money. The phone buzzes in his hand. When he looks up, she's already walking toward her car. I'll never forget this. I swear to God, I'll never forget. She doesn't turn around, but she smiles.
I didn't know I was planting a seed that day. I only knew it was the right thing to do. And I didn't know that 7 years later, when my world collapsed into darkness, that seed would be the only thing standing between me and the grave.
Emeka returns to school, graduates top of his class, begins his residency, lives in a tiny room, eats 1 meal a day, sends everything home to his mother. But he's smiling. He carries Chioma's words like a compass. I never saw her again. I didn't know her name. Her face started to fade from memory. But her words never did. 3 years after the village, a business conference in Abuja. Chioma, now 34, sharper, wealthier, sits in the VIP section. A man approaches. Tobechukwu. Charming, humble, well-spoken. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I had to say, your keynote speech was incredible. Chioma remains polite but guarded. Thank you. I'm Tobe. I run a small logistics company. Nothing like your empire, but I'm working on it. He smiles, self-deprecating, hungry, real. Everyone starts somewhere. That's kind of you to say, especially coming from someone who built everything herself. She softens. They talk. He listens, really listens. He asks about her late mother, her values, her dreams. And for the first time in years, Chioma feels seen. Dates, late-night phone calls, Tobe attending her business events, him meeting her friends, her staff, the engagement, the wedding, small, elegant, perfect. Chioma begins bringing him into the business, board meetings, account passwords, signing authority. She calls it partnership. He calls it opportunity. But he's patient, calculating, waiting. And when they marry, Chioma makes a decision that surprises some of her friends. She keeps her maiden name, Chioma Okafor. Not for business reasons, but because it's her mother's name. The name she carried when she built everything from nothing. The name that means something. Tobe doesn't argue. He doesn't care about names, only what they're attached to. 3 years into the marriage,
Chioma starts experiencing blurred vision. At first, she ignores it. Then it worsens. Doctors run tests. Genetic condition. Rare. Degenerative. There's a surgery. Experimental. Expensive. It might help, but there are no guarantees. Within 6 months, Chioma is completely blind. The business slows. Staff are restructured. Tobe becomes her voice, her hands, her eyes. And slowly, so slowly she doesn't notice, he becomes her cage. Tobe begins cutting people off. Chioma's longtime assistant, fired. She was stealing. Her financial advisor, removed. He was overcharging you. Her friends, screened. They only call when they need something. One by one,
her world shrinks, until the only voices she hears are Tobe's and Ngozi's. Ngozi arrives 6 months after Chioma loses her sight. 28, polished, sweet-voiced. Chioma, this is my younger sister, Ngozi. She's going to stay with us for a while, help out around the house. It's such an honor to meet you, Ma. Tobe talks about you all the time. Her voice is honey. You didn't tell me you had a sister. We're not close, but family is family. Ngozi moves in. She's helpful, attentive, always there. And at night, when Chioma is asleep, Ngozi slips into Tobe's bed. Ngozi develops a routine. Every morning, she prepares Chioma's organic health juice. Kale, ginger, turmeric, and something else. Arsenic. Microdoses. Slow, disorienting, nearly impossible to detect. Chioma begins feeling weaker, nauseous, confused. Something's wrong. I feel strange. It's stress, grief. The blindness is taking a toll. The doctor runs tests. Everything looks normal. Sometimes the body reacts to trauma in unexpected ways. But it's not trauma. It's poison. And it's working. One night, Chioma dreams. She's at her own funeral. The casket is open. She sees herself, still, pale, dressed in white. And standing over the grave, laughing, Tobe and Ngozi, hand in hand. A voice whispers in the dream, "Open your eyes before it's too late." Chioma wakes, gasping. "Tobe!" He's beside her instantly. I'm here. What happened?" "I had a dream. You and someone else. You were laughing at my funeral." Silence. Then Tobe pulls her close. "It's just a nightmare, my love. Stress. You're safe. I would never let anything happen to you." She wants to believe him, so she does. Tobe sits in his office with a lawyer. Not the one Chioma met, a different one. Loyal. The power of attorney gives you control, but about full transfer, properties, accounts, everything, she needs to sign these. How long? Once she signs, 72 hours. Tobe nods. And after? The lawyer says nothing. He doesn't need to. Ngozi enters, closes the door. How much longer do I have to play nurse? 10 days, maybe less. And then? Tobe kisses her. Then we're free. 4 years earlier, Emeka, now a young doctor, walks through a crowded Lagos market. A teenage girl collapses in front of him. Seizure. Bystanders scatter. Emeka drops to his knees, begins treatment. Someone calls an ambulance, but it's delayed. Emeka makes a decision. He pays for a private taxi, takes her to the hospital himself, admits her, stays with her, uses his last savings to cover her treatment. When she stabilizes, the nurses insist he go home and rest. He's been awake for 18 hours. Emeka steps out of the hospital, exhausted, and pulls out his phone. He dials his roommate. "Chidi, I need to ask you something. I know it's not a good time, but can you lend me 50,000 naira? Just until next month. I'd pay you back, I promise. Emeka, what happened? Are you okay? I'm fine. There was a girl. She collapsed. I had to admit her. I used everything I had. Everything. Everything. His roommate sighs. I'll send it now. But Guy, you have to stop doing this to yourself. I know. Thank you, Chidi. I mean it. He hangs up. And as he's putting the phone back in his pocket, a black Mercedes pulls up to the hospital entrance. A man steps out. Tall, imposing, expensive suit. Chief Adeleke. They don't know each other, don't recognize each other. But as Chief Adeleke rushes toward the entrance, he hears Emeka's voice. The tail end of the conversation. Used everything I had. The chief pauses, looks back. But Emeka is already walking away, head down, shoulders slumped. Inside the hospital, Chief Adeleke finds his daughter awake, stable, surrounded by nurses. Papa! He holds her, trembling. What happened? I don't know. I was in the market and then I woke up here. The nurse steps forward. A young doctor brought her in, paid for everything, admission, tests, medication. He stayed with her until she was stable. Where is he? He left about 10 minutes ago. He looked exhausted. What's his name? The nurse checks the paperwork. Dr. Emeka Nwosu. Chief Adeleke looks at the bill, then at his daughter, then back at the door where Emeka had just exited. Find him. They do. Chief Adeleke shows up at Emeka's tiny apartment 2 days later. Emeka opens the door, confused. Yes? You saved my daughter. Emeka blinks. I'm sorry, who? Chief Adeleke, the girl in the market, Lebake. You brought her to the hospital. Recognition dawns. Oh, is she okay? She's perfect. Because of you. I just did what any doctor would do. You went broke doing it. Emeka shifts uncomfortably. I overheard you, outside the hospital, asking someone for a loan. Emeka looks down. And you asked for nothing. She needed help. That's all that mattered. Chief Adeleke studies him for a long moment. Why? Because someone once did the same for me. Chief Adeleke nods slowly. What do you want to specialize in? Ophthalmology, eye surgery. But the training is expensive and Not anymore. Emeka trains abroad, studies under the world's best, returns to Nigeria. Chief Adeleke builds him a state-of-the-art eye clinic, the Adeleke Nwosu Vision Center, the most advanced in West Africa. Emeka is 32 now, brilliant, humble, still carrying the words of a woman he never forgot. Emeka is reviewing patient files when his assistant mentions a referral. High-profile case, complete blindness, genetic condition. The husband called, says money is no object. What's the patient's name? Chioma Okafor. Emeka freezes. The pen slips from his hand. What did you say? Chioma Okafor. Do you know her? His heart pounds. I need the address. Emeka stands outside the mansion. It's massive, intimidating, but it feels wrong, too quiet. He knocks. Tobe answers. Dr. Nwosu? Yes. Thank you for coming. Please, come in. Emeka steps inside. The house is dark, cold. He's led to a sitting room. And there she is, Chioma. Older, thinner, fragile. But it's her. Mrs. Okafor. She turns her head toward his voice. Doctor? Yes, I'm Dr. Emeka Nwosu. The name means nothing to her. Why would it? She never knew his name. Emeka sits. I've reviewed your case. There's a procedure that might help. It's delicate, but I believe there's a chance. A chance? A good one. Tobey steps forward from the doorway. And the cost? For her? Nothing. I don't understand. Emeka looks at Chioma. Mrs. Okafor, 7 years ago, in a village in Enugu, you met a young man at a clinic. You paid his school fees. You asked for nothing. You told him to finish school and help others. Chioma's breath catches. That was you? Yes. Tears roll down her face. You became a doctor. Because of you. She reaches out. He takes her hand. You gave me my life. Let me give you back your sight. Tobey watches. His jaw tightens. But he forces a smile. Because what else can he do? Refusing the surgery would raise suspicion. And besides, he doesn't actually believe it will work. The doctors said the chances were slim. And even if it does work, he and Ngozi have already discussed this. It doesn't matter. Blind or not, the plan remains the same. She signs the documents. The transfer completes, and then the doses increase. Whether she can see it coming or not won't change the outcome. So Tobey nods. That's very generous of you, Doctor. When can we schedule the procedure? As soon as possible. Good. Tobey places a hand on Chioma's shoulder. You hear that, my love? There's hope. But in his mind, he's already counting the days. That night, Emeka stays late reviewing Chioma's medical history. He hears voices. Tobey and Ngozi in the next room. Who is this doctor? No one. Some village boy she helped years ago.
And if the surgery works? It won't matter. She signs next week. 72 hours later, the transfer completes. And after? After, we increase the dose. 1 week, maybe 2. Then it's over. Emeka's blood runs cold. He records everything. Emeka requests a private moment with Chioma. Tobey reluctantly agrees. When they're alone, Emeka speaks quietly. Mrs. Okafor, I need you to listen carefully. What's wrong? You're in danger. He tells her everything. She doesn't want to believe it, but deep down, she already knows. What do I do? Trust me. The operation is successful. Against all odds, Chioma's sight is restored. But when she wakes, she tells no one. She keeps her eyes closed, acts weak, confused. Emeka leans close. Can you see? Chioma's voice is barely audible. Yes. Then watch and remember everything. Chioma returns home, still blind, but now she sees. Tobey's impatience, Ngozi's smirks, the glances they exchange. Over the next 2 weeks, she sees everything. She watches Ngozi prepare her juice each morning, watches the powder dissolve. And she doesn't drink it. She pours it into a plant when they're not looking. She watches them together, in her bed, in her house, with her money. She watches Tobey on the phone with his lawyer, discussing timelines, transfers, contingencies. She watches Ngozi pack suitcases in the guest room, designer bags, expensive shoes, purchases made with Chioma's credit cards. And she says nothing. Emika visits daily under the guise of post-operative checkups. Together, they install hidden cameras, record every conversation, every transaction, every poisoned glass of juice. Chioma contacts a lawyer in secret, a woman she's known for years, someone Tobey never met. They prepare counter-documents. Identical layout, same legal firm's watermark, easily replicated, same folder style. But the content is reversed. Where Tobey's documents transfer everything to him, Chioma's transfer everything back to her, with ironclad legal protection, and include a signed confession of fraud embedded in the fine print. The lawyer ensures every page looks identical to the originals. They won't read it. Men like him never do. They see their name at the top and assume victory. Chioma nods and waits. The documents are brought to Chioma on a Tuesday afternoon. Tobey, his lawyer, and Ngozi sit in the study. Chioma is led in, appearing weak, disoriented. Tobey's lawyer opens his briefcase.
Mrs. Okafor, these documents finalize the asset transfer. Your husband will assume full control of all properties, accounts, and business holdings.
Chioma's hand trembles. I don't know if I can do this today. I'm not feeling well.
Tobey's jaw tightens, but he keeps his voice gentle. My love, we've discussed this. It's for the best, for both of us. I know, but... The lawyer has other appointments. If we don't do this today, it could be weeks before we can reschedule. Ngozi adds her voice, sweet as honey. Ma, it's just a signature. Brother Tobey has been managing everything already. This just makes it official. Chioma hesitates, then nods weakly. Okay, but can I have a day? Just one day to prepare myself. Tobey's patience is visibly wearing thin, but he forces a smile. Of course. Tomorrow then. Same time. They leave, and the moment they're gone, Chioma opens her eyes. Emika is already there, slipping in through the back entrance. It's tomorrow. I know. Are you ready? Chioma looks at him. I've been ready since the day I woke up and saw the truth. That night, while Tobey and Ngozi celebrate in his office, champagne, laughter, planning their new life, Emika and Chioma's lawyer swap the documents. Same folder, same company logo embossed on the cover, same paperweight, same number of pages. The only difference is in the words. Words Tobey will never bother to read. The next day, Tobey, Ngozi, the lawyer, and Chioma sit in the study once more. Chioma appears even weaker than before. Perfect.
Mrs. Okafor, this finalizes the asset transfer. Your husband will assume full control.
Chioma's voice is slurred. Where do I sign?
It's all right, just sign here.
Right here, my love.
I don't understand.
The documents are spread before them. Tobey's lawyer points to the signature lines. Tobey signs first, bold, confident, without reading a single word. The lawyer signs as witness, equally careless. Ngozi watches, suppressing a smile. Then it's Chioma's turn. Her hand shakes as she scrawls her name. It's done. Tobey's lawyer gathers the papers.
Congratulations, Mr. Maduka.
They pour champagne. Ngozi's hand finds Tobey's under the table. Chioma stands. Slowly. She removes her dark glasses and looks directly at Tobey. I can see. The room freezes. What? I can see. I've been able to see for 2 weeks.
Ngozi's smile vanishes.
I've seen the poison in my juice, the texts on your phone, the two of you in my bed. Chioma, I
watched you plan my death. She nods toward the door. It opens. Police officers enter. Emeka steps in behind them, holding a tablet. Footage cued. You loved my money, Toby, but you never understood where it came from. She turns to the officers. Arrest them. Tobe lunges toward the documents, but it's too late. He's restrained. Ngozi screams, clawing at the officers. Tobe's lawyer tries to backpedal. I didn't know. I had no idea. You're a lawyer, Chioma says coldly. You're supposed to read before you witness. Officers, take him too. All three are dragged away. Tobe's voice echoes through the hallway. You can't do this! Those documents are legal! I signed them! Chioma's lawyer steps forward, holding up the papers. Yes, you did. And what you signed was a full confession of fraud, a transfer of all assets back to Mrs. Okafor, and a legal acknowledgement of attempted murder. Tobe's face drains of color. You should have read the fine print, Mr. Maduka. The door slams shut. Silence. Chioma stands in the center of the room. She doesn't cry, doesn't celebrate. She simply exhales. Emeka approaches quietly. Are you okay? I will be. She looks at him. Thank you. You gave me everything. I only gave back what I could. 6 months later, courtroom, sentencing. Tobechukwu Maduka, you are sentenced to 15 years for fraud, attempted murder, and conspiracy. Ngozi Eze, 12 years. The gavel falls. Chioma sits in the gallery. No tears, no triumph. Just closure. A new building, gleaming, modern. The sign reads, Second Sight Foundation, medical scholarships, free eye surgeries, community health. Chioma and Emeka stand at the entrance. She cuts the ribbon. Inside, the waiting room is filled with patients, students receiving scholarship letters, families weeping with gratitude. I used to think sight was about eyes, but I was wrong. Sight is about clarity, seeing who people really are, what they're capable of, both the worst and the best. Chioma watches a young girl receive her first pair of glasses. The girl looks up and smiles. Kindness is a seed. You plant it in silence. You may never see it grow, but one day, when the world goes dark and you're certain you'll be swallowed whole, you'll find shade under a tree you forgot you planted. Emeka joins her. Ready? Yes. They walk into the clinic together, not as lovers, but as proof. The end.
Life stories with the innocent. Stories just for you. Ancient wisdom for modern.